happy shiny puppies. This is Melanie Fletcher, author of Deliberate Receiving. Finally, the universe makes some freaking sense. I'm in a good mood today. Okay, so today I want to talk about activism and the way that it's currently practiced in our world for the most part, and why I don't think that works very well, and then sort of maybe a new perspective on how we could practice activism. Let's call it higher energy activism. I like that, energy activism. So the way that activism is currently practiced, it's, somebody sees something in the world that they think is bad, and then they try to tell people about it, raise awareness, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. The way it's done is usually a bad thing, not a constructive thing, let's put it that way. Or you try to shut it down. This shouldn't be happening, let's try to block it, let's try to shut it down. Which again, usually doesn't work, but there is a way to do that that is actually much more effective. You're going out and you're protesting, you're pushing against something. That's usually what activism is. This is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is a problem. Broken record, broken record, broken record. Okay. So that can get you some results. Before people sit there and go, well, that has worked for this and this problem, it can get you some results if you have a strong enough belief that it will get you results, and eventually it will get you some results. But it doesn't hold a candle to the results that you can get if you leverage the energy that you have access to, which creates your entire reality. If you use the law of attraction deliberately to draw to you what you actually want. So what that requires, first and foremost, is for you to identify what it is that you want and put your focus on that. So, when people wear those little, what do you call the bows, with different colors, and you ask them, what's that for? And it'll always be some cause. And, I'm not trying to say that those people don't have their hearts in the right place. I'm just saying that when you're raising awareness for something, usually it's done under the guise of look at this problem, look at this problem, look at this problem, and you never actually swap over to the solution. We spend way too much time on the problem instead of just looking, oh, that's the problem. What is this making us want? So it'll be cancer awareness, which I always think is funny, and I'm not making fun of cancer, but I am making fun of cancer awareness. Sorry, because I think we're aware enough of cancer, and we're putting lots and lots and lots of energy onto the illness, onto the problem, and we have more cancer than ever. So I would love to create a whole new bow. I think all the colors are taken, but maybe, some of you creative people out there can help me out with this. What can we create that could raise awareness for this? That's a little different, and people ask, what is that for? And then we say health. We're raising awareness for health. There's no lobby for health. There's no charity promoting health, but why don't we make one? So let's talk about health. Let's talk about thriving. Let's talk about, not just getting rid of disease, but actually moving into a healthy, thriving body. What if we sort of raised awareness for that? What it feels like to be healthy, what it feels like to be abundant, what it feels like to be happy. Let's raise awareness for those things. And when you understand energy, then that starts to make a lot more sense. If you don't understand energy, that doesn't make any sense, because you're like, well, wait a minute, we have to raise awareness for the problem so that someday maybe we could solve it. If people don't know about it, then no one's even gonna, solve it. And yeah, okay, but it's your reality. Are you aware of it? Good. Move on. Move on to the thing that you actually want, And then allow the path to open up. And then when you go out and you talk to others about it, there's a few pitfalls that you can fall into, which I've noticed when I talk to activists and when I coach activists. These are some of the things that I've seen that have not worked out well for them, that have sort of stopped their energy from really doing what they wanted to do. So first of all, we focused on what it is that they want. And second of all, and activated that, obviously. And second of all, then we sort of worked on how they talk to people about it. So when you go out and talk to people about it, don't see them as the enemy. Don't see them as the problem, because you're looking at their powerless self and you're giving energy to that. See them as the solution. See them as wanting that solution. Get them on board with your grand vision. And your grand vision is not to fix something. It goes beyond that. It's bigger than that. It always is bigger than that. And I'll give you an example in just a second. Yeah? So, for example, with the cancer example, that was an example. The objective is not to fix cancer, to heal cancer. The objective is to be healthy and free and not have to worry about it anymore. Yeah? In the environment, you know, the objective is not to get everybody to recycle. The big objective is to live in a planet where we all honor the planet and we're partners with the planet, and we can feel truly like we're in a symbiotic relationship with the earth, like we are home and we're acting like we're home. Yeah. And we're not, you know, disrespecting. The way I like to put it is we're not shitting where we're eating anymore. And we're the only species that does that, by the way. So that's what we want to put our focus on, you know, healthy planet, healthy humans, good relationships, people that love each other, people that honor each other. You know, I did a video about misogyny the other day. So what you would want to look at as your big goal is, you know, women and men being empowered on both sides, being equals, trusting each other, honoring each other. That is sort of the big vision, the big goal. And when you hit that and you start activating that for people, oftentimes they will come on board very easily. And if they don't, it's because they're not resonating with that, and then you don't want to waste your time talking to those people. Those are not your people. And you don't need to convert everybody. You don't need to convert anybody. You want to enter into the conversation that's already going on in their heads that they may have not been able to verbalize. And here you are verbalizing it, and they're like, oh, yes, this is what I want. So when you go, if you want to get involved in something, here's what I would suggest that you do. Here's how I would suggest that you practice activism. You, first of all, focus on what it is that you want. You create that grand vision for yourself that opens your heart, that gets you really, really excited. And then you let that path to that open up. And every action that you take should feel like that, should come from that perspective. And you practice. A lot of times you sit at home and practice it in your mind. How do I want to talk to these people? So, if you're going and talking to people in a company, trying to get them to be more green because you're wanting to help people become more environmentally friendly, you would not go in there and talk to them like they're the enemy and tell them what they should be doing that they're not doing, and they're bastards who are destroying the earth if they're not doing those things. You don't want to come from a place of shaming them or guilting them, because their motivation is never going to be guilt. Yeah? And so I'll give you an example. If you take a person, let's say a guy, you know, randomly, could be a woman, could be, you know, whatever, doesn't matter. But let's say a guy who has a shitty home life and hates his job and he doesn't feel very powerful at all anywhere. And the only time that he ever really feels like he's got any kind of stature is when he's driving his big ass monster truck down the freeway. And even though it guzzles gas and whatever, this gives him a feeling that he doesn't get anywhere else. And so you go to this guy and you say, you should drive a Prius because it's better for the environment. And he is going to curse at you. Yeah? He's going to tell you to fuck off pretty quickly because you're trying to take something away from him that means more to him than saving the environment. Now, that does not mean that he doesn't care about the environment, but if you make him choose between those two things, you're going to lose every time. It's not even going to be a contest. Yeah, he won't even listen to you. But you want to get somebody like that on board with saving the environment. Don't take away that feeling. Find a way to give him that feeling without it guzzling a lot of gas, which means let's design some cars that are powerful and fast and yeah. It's my Tim Allen grunt, if anyone's old enough to remember that. Anyway, so let's design some cars that let people feel like that, and are good for the environment. Thank you, Tesla. So in any endeavor, you know, when you're talking to people, get them on board with your big vision, and you stay in touch with your big vision, and let it be fun, let it be light, let it be a creation rather than something that you're trying to clean up. Step out of that whole paradigm where you're trying to fix the world and step into the reality where there is already, the solution is already there. This thing doesn't even exist anymore. It's already there. Yeah? And the more you line up with that, the more you're going to see solutions start to come in now that feel like that. That's when you see breakthroughs in healthcare that are, you know, super inspired and they feel really, really good. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so excited. This is happening. This is when you see things like the Tesla coming out, which is a powerful car that people get excited about. They get excited about it not because it's environmentally friendly, they get excited about it because it's an exciting car, you see? So you don't need to motivate them anymore. And then the environmental thing is sort of like, oh yeah, and that too. Yeah, it's a nice benefit on top of that. So let it be a win-win, let it be a win-win, let it be a win-win. So hopefully I've kind of made my point. A little bit disjointed, apologies for that, but I don't plan these videos out and I'm just sort of yapping at you. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. Yay! So until tomorrow, I love you guys. Oh God, it's getting better and better. And thank you for bringing your light to the world.